My name is Eric Simpson, and I'm from Houston, Texas. I have an MBA from Cornell University, as well as studying for a doctorate degree in economics and mathematics from Cornell University. And over the last 25 years, I've built hedge funds in energy, as well as data technology companies in exchanges and various other technologies. And after the events of this past February 2021, when Texas Winter Storm Uri came through the area, sadly, we saw millions of Texans have their lives uprooted and flipped upside down, from their homes having damage from water pipes breaking all over their homes, to businesses being frozen and unable to have revenue during that week. And also causing damage to their businesses from water damage, as well as other such things. And with this situation, we decided to try to avail our energy data and the data which we've warehoused for a few decades on energy markets to help with the supporting of claims for insurers, as well as insured and claimants across the state, whether they are homeowners or business owners. And we've launched a fund called Texans Helping Texans Recovery Fund. And in that fund, we're putting in our data that will be necessary to support the claims against the energy companies that caused the damage. And in that context, the goal is to get you a partial recovery of the funds that you've lost and the damage that was done to your homes and businesses. And in that, I'll try to tell you a story of how it all happened, and from an Energy Inside perspective. With that, in December 2020, as well as January 2021. It's well known in energy markets, weather patterns, and weather patterns are studied at deep levels, from stratospheric warming to different polar vortex formations, to El Niños and La Niñas, and all sorts of weather patterns that energy traders read. They read it more than they read the Bible to understand what the market is going to do. And in that context, this current cold event that went through in February 2021 was well advertised. It was known easily end of December and early January 2021, when all the major meteorology services showed the ample evidence of the stratospheric warming, which simply means that you're going to create a condition that is going to push a great deal of polar air down into the southern locations of the United States, as well as into Europe. And this was, known a good 40 to 60 days in advance of the cold weather. Now, why this is unusual is all the companies that run those fuel supplies, the producers, the power companies, the grid operators, they all are privy to this data. They study it daily. They know it's coming. And they all have northern operations where temperatures usually go much lower than what we saw during the recent events in Texas. And so they properly winterize, and they know how to handle these conditions. It's a cost, certainly, but they know the cost, and they perform during the cost, or otherwise northern locations in the United States would never have power or any of these things, just as we experienced in Texas, which were not extreme conditions only for the state. But the people knew that were responsible for this how to deal with that. They all have operations in areas to know how to handle these things, whether it be methane injection, glycol injection, or other types of things into their wells or winterizing plants. And readying storage fields for the ability to pull out of the ground the fuel necessary to generate the power required. From a big picture, the loads that we've seen in ERCOT over the past February extreme condition were not loads that exceed those that we see in the summer. Quite often you'll hear media report that this has been a mistake to go to renewables. The fact of the matter is renewables don't work in the summer either. Wind doesn't blow in the most extreme heat conditions, and so we rely upon natural gas during those conditions to make the power, primarily and somewhat on coal. And this happens very frequently throughout the July and August heat waves. So the loads that happened were very much within boundary of what is normal for a high demand sequence of weather. And because of this, there really is no reason why the grid couldn't have handled what was done. And with that understanding comes responsibility, and the companies did not respond to the needs of what needed to occur. And frankly, in the energy market, it also needs to be well known that the energy contracts are usually set up on a firm basis. It wouldn't be possible to operate a energy company if the contract wasn't firm. They do, of course, allow for some small amount of gas, whether it be 5-10%, to be swing on the month, and due to operational issues at wells or power plants. But generally, going into a month, the energy producers and generators all firm up their supplies with firm contracts. Firm contracts have been well used in energy markets for many, many decades. These have penalties for non-performance, and if you have sold under one of these contracts, you owe the amount of which you have not produced. And you do it at what we call cost to cover, or the then market price, to replace that fuel or power. In this situation, because the prices had gone up so much, the fuel and generators would have lost billions of dollars, 20, 30 billion, easily at the then market prices if they had to cover that power. Rather than take that loss, and sadly, some generators did take that loss, and it nearly, it cost them a lot. It cost them a lot to take care of their customers, but sadly, the large energy companies did not take care of their companies. They took care of their own, and they decided purposefully to pass those losses on to the general consumer and business owner within their own state, to their neighbor. And that's the reality of what went down. The losses then went from what would have been probably 20-30 billion range as far as the losses in energy markets, spread or over a large number of players, to be well over the 150 to $200 billion mark when we look at the insurance damage that was done and businesses, how much they've lost in revenue. And so that was the actions of a few that led to the events. All these factors that we're discussing are not in the media reports, and we've seen a lot of inaccurate reporting, but what we're going to do is help you all that want to be helped, to help you put your claim into the fund. Again, the fund is Texans Helping Texans Recovery Fund. We're running it through our circlesx.com platform. And in that, you can upload your claims, and provided that we validate them and that they're valid, we will purchase them for $100, which you can receive in your account on the platform. And provided that we have verified and bought your claim, then it will be part of that deal is that we're enhancing the claim with the software through a software transaction with you. And that's no charge up front to utilize the multi-million-dollar database that's been developed over decades to put the necessary detail that will be required for these claims, but and also to prove cause. don't think it will be possible to prove cause unless you have the data, which the companies that you're going up against have. And that data costs millions of dollars, and so we're going to put it into the fund and allow for the participants to be able to utilize that. And as a result, then what we will do is, obviously the cost of the litigation will be high, and we're covering that cost and fronting that cost. But then upon settlement, which we cannot guarantee a meritorious outcome, but we do have the data and the experts, which we will be going up against these companies. And as far as that goes, the promise is that we would recover you gross proceeds, or 50% of what we settle as a gross proceeds, and hopefully get you in money that was under your deductible or uninsured losses. And insurance companies will also be utilizing our data to get the losses which they obtained, which were given to them by these energy companies that didn't perform. So basically, it's a way for a common man to participate in scaled, in a scaled fund that's going to have data to be able to go up against the larger companies and hold them accountable in a way that is fair for given what happened. We wish you the best of success, and please let us know how we can help you. You can call us anytime at 832-916-2001, or you can go to our website, which is www.circlesx, that's CIRCLESX.com. You can make a free account, and we'll contact you, and then that will allow you to upload the sequence of events or the sequence of losses that you occurred, and that will allow us to go through a data verification process and potentially offer to buy your claim, to put it into the fund so that we can pursue it. We are injured, or one of the injured, just like you, and so we're trying to avail the data for other people to be able to participate and be on common ground with the companies that caused it. We wish you the best of success, and again, please call us 832-916-2001, or go to our website, www.circlesx.com. Take care, God's rest, and good speed to your recovery.